who really gets to define vulgarity? Who determines what's obscene? Is it the content creator, esteemed judges, the center at the helm of affairs, or is it just us, the society at large, the people who are responsible for what they say? The debate has been reignited after the Supreme Court has unleashed a powerful critique on YouTuber Ranveer Allahbadia, or Beer Biceps as he is popularly called, for his controversial incestuous questions. The court did not hold back, labeling Allahbadia's remark as nothing short of obscene. The Supreme Court asserted that something is very, very dirty and perverted in his mind, which he vomited during the India's Got Latent episode. Yet, there's a counter-argument brewing. Many believe that targeting Ranveer is unfair since he has already issued an apology. Well, going straight across to the debate and joining the debate, Rahul Ishwar with Suhail Seth, Ira Trivedi, Rizwan Siddiqui and Tehseen Poonawala continues to be in today. Suhail Seth, I want to ask you, the Supreme Court has rapped on the knuckles Ranveer Allahbadia, distasteful comments. But the danger here is also whether censorship comes in full force, because now the courts are watching and the government has been asked to file a response. Are we going to enter a situation that because of Ranveer Allahbadia, the whole world will have to face censorship? And is that a dangerous position to be in?
Well, if it's censorship, but obviously the courts are alluding to some level of self-regulation. This is something that is beyond my pale of understanding, in the sense, if there are rules that are laid down, those rules need to be adhered to, but in the absence of rules, then let rules be formed. A, B. As one has learned, one hasn't seen his podcasts or heard them, but one has been told that he has over 20 million subscribers. So there are 20 million people who subscribe to this brand of humor, if you can call it humor. So it says a lot about, the people who are subscribing to that. I know Rahul Ishwar moved court and filed a complaint. The issue to my mind here, Navika, is, as the famous American judge said, one man's vulgarity is another man's lyric. We don't understand as to where and how you will define this, because a lot of the people from the so-called woke liberal world will say that, no, it's fine. This is what we believe in, and we should not be either censured or censored or punished. But that's for largely the creative people in the field to, decide and decipher. But I would imagine that what will follow is a certain set of laws which will not augur well, because any form of censorship is bad.
Well, let me get in Tehseen. Tehseen, danger that this, exposes us not just to self-censorship, self-discipline, but actually puts us in the throes of being censored through bodies, possibly by either the government or suggested by the courts, because clearly what Ranveer Allahbadia did was A, distasteful, B, cross the boundaries of free speech. I want to ask you on this, where do you stand today, given the fact that it exposes the entire world of content creators to a new risk factor?
Navika, I bow before the majesty of the Honorable Supreme Court, but I humbly, firmly, strongly disagree with what the Honorable Judge has said today. And I take complete responsibility for what I'm saying. The channel owes no responsibility for it. Let me make that clear. Free speech ends where violence begins. And if you don't like something, I thought what Ranveer said was crass and disgusting, in a ticketed adult subscribed show, please leave. But for the court, the only question before the court is legality, not morality. Morality is subjective. 100 or 200 years ago, women wearing shorts or what somebody is wearing, even wearing a bikini was considered immoral. Today, that's moral. 15, 20 years ago, homosexuality was considered illegal and immoral. Today, that's legal. Morality changes. This may perhaps never change in the morality argument, but it is not for courts to decide morality. It is for viewers. And when the courts act like nanny, the governments act like nanny and come down on censorship, we are living not just in very dangerous times, but we are going to destroy a complete new economy that thousands of content creators are making, which may not include vulgarity. We don't need the state being a nanny. You don't like Times Now, please change the channel. You don't like what Sohail said, please walk out. And I love Times Now. I love Times Now. So if you don't, but don't get the courts in. You have several ways to control content that your children watch. And if you can't control what your children watch, don't expect the government or courts to do it.
Well, Rahul Ishwar, the society had a problem. But how does the society address this problem? You filed a case. Does Tehseen Poonawalla expect you to go to Ranveer Allahbadia? Will Ranveer Allahbadia listen to you? Aren't courts the only recourse that are left? But the danger also about courts telling us what to do, what not to do, or the government telling us what to do, what not to do. How do you balance the two sides?
Navika ji, the most important thing is that there should be a sensitive balancing middle ground. I'm a Hindu right-wing activist and Ranveer also leans right. But this is beyond politics. Family values, ethics are something the bedrock of every society. Family and faith are holy cows that we should not cross that Lakshman Rekha. My good friend Tehseen Bhai may remember, I was the person who filed complaint against Satwi Prachi for her absolutely disgusting Islamophobic comments. And I got it to Election Commission saying that she should be barred from campaigning. See, the point is, there are some lines and every society needs some lines. Please remember, there is no liberty without responsibility. There is no creativity without sensitivity. Whenever we mention liberty and creativity, we should also mention sensitivity and responsibility. Yes, norms may keep on changing, but even after 1,000 years, I don't think sex jokes with one's own parents will be cool. See, we need some kind of Lakshman Rekhas and regulations. Otherwise, we will be going into an extremely anarchic, morally nihilistic society. An amount of relativism is absolutely true. I am not like the Aloknath, Sanskari Aloknath, who is the uncle who will tell everyone what to do. But at the same point of time, the moral nihilistic argument is going to collapse our society because nihilism or extreme anarchism will be the lack of any kind of guideline and framework. That's the reason why hate speeches are no. Free speech is good. Perversion is no. Dark humor is okay, but perversion is no. Some kind of regulation should be there. Who will draw the line? That's $1 million question. The courts will draw the line. The civil society will draw the line. The media debates like this will draw the line. The lines may keep on changing, but no one can exist without that Lakshman Rekha. And that Lakshman Rekha is for the betterment of the society. I really hope Ranveer bounce back. And one request to Ranveer is, come back, do after a court gives you permission, do a great show with your parents. Let us know you more. And if your parents are forgiving you, that's a great ethical argument. And I'm happy that the courts have taken the role of a parent state, not nanny state. Court was dealing less with technicality and more with ethics. Otherwise, there is no provision for court to say that you cannot do the content anymore. Court was only guiding as a parent, and such kind of ethical direction and guideline of a society is a need. Yes, states may overreach, politicians may misuse. That's a second part. We should definitely deal with it. But courts are guardians of that ethics and civics in our society. Otherwise, our society will collapse into a nihilistic, extremely relativistic society.
Ira Trivedi, where do you stand on this? Are both sides taking this too far?
I actually really like what Rahul Ishwaran has said, and I completely second that. The reality is that no one took social media very seriously up till now. While there is a lot of censorship when it comes to films, when it comes to news channels, like you yourself know, there is a huge amount of censorship and control over these media platforms. Now, the reality is that social media platforms like YouTube, Instagram are actually taking over what we call as real media. So now there's so much importance, and thus so far, people like Ranveer Allahbadia, Samay Raina, they've been operating without any control whatsoever. There are no guidelines, there is no censorship, there is no control. They are operating in absolutely wild, wild west, saying whatever they want to, doing whatever they want to. So this episode, actually, it's been long coming. It's been a long time coming that something like this has actually happened now, that people have just gone too far. The followerships have gotten so big. More people are watching social media, Instagram, YouTube. There has more views than probably maybe this news channel. So definitely there needs to be some sort of boundaries, some sort of guidelines. And this debate is not about two people. It's not about what Ranveer Allahbadia has done, what Samay Raina has done. These are young boys. They are immature. They have never been regulated. They have been operating, just doing whatever they want to. And now for the first time, there is some scrutiny, and it's, they are being punished. In fact, Ranveer Allahbadia has been told that he can't post at all. And his entire livelihood is this, posting on YouTube and on Instagram. This is his entire livelihood. He employs many people. His mother is getting threats. There's another girl involved, a rebel kid, Apurva, and she's getting all sorts of threats. So this is also not cool. We have to be cognizant that these are also citizens of our nation, and they have wronged, and the Supreme Court has given them a very, very strong and strict warning. They're not allowing them to post for at least some time, or let's see how long. And I definitely think that it's really now time to look at guidelines for social media. Countries like Australia have actually banned certain age groups from even getting on social media. I think something like 16 they've banned.
Fair point. And Rizwan Siddiqui.
China has also banned the amount of time that you can watch.
Absolutely. And Rizwan Siddiqui, I want to ask you this. Have they upset the whole apple cart? Think before you speak is something we as children were, learned to operate on. But has social media made anything that is said so kosher that you can get away with blue murder? Exactly what Ranveer Allahbadia and Samay Raina thought that they would. Is this a wake-up call that, probably self-censorship or self-regulation is something that should have been exercised before things went this far?
Yeah, so I hope I'm audible.
Absolutely.
Can you just reconfirm that, please? Okay, because I was not able to hear my co-panelists very clearly, so I don't know whether I am audible or not, but thank you for reconfirming that. See, I have gone through the arguments which have been shown in the bar and bench column which was there on live, but I don't know whether the order has come out as of now or not. But nonetheless, having gone through the arguments which were made, and coming back to your question also, what you were asking, I see that there were 2-3 different parts which were presented before the court. Well, all of us are arguing on the moral policing part. The other parts that I see is that the points which were touched upon, the legal parts, were not on the sections and whether the sections were attracted or not, whether 41A notice was required in this case or not, whether the police would really go out and arrest anybody, because custody in these kind of cases are not required. So actually speaking, the question of arrest under the law was completely not supposed to be looked into at all, because no police officer will come home knocking and arrest anybody in a case like this, because a 41A notice is required before making any arrest. So as far as the law point is concerned, what I see more emphasis was on the point that the FIRs need to be clubbed. And what I also see that the honorable judges of the Supreme Court have mentioned that as of now there are only 3 FIRs. The third one came in recently on Sunday, and the other 2 FIRs are more or less common, the one in Assam and one in Maharashtra, Bombay. The third one came in on Sunday on a different topic. So if I decode the arguments which were made, because the order is still not out, so the arguments which have been decoded, we are all talking about moral policing, which was in the course of an argument which was made before the honorable judges, but it's not a part of the order. So since it is not a part of the order, I will not say that the judges have said something like this in an order and they are trying to do moral policing in an order.
I love lawyers, because, lawyers will only see the legalese and miss the broad point in the whole issue. And the broad point really is, yes, order, it's not there. There were observations that were made, but Suhail said the basic point is, are we at an inflection point as far as regulation of social media is concerned? And is this going to create another monster of censorship just because we didn't self-regulate? Is that a danger? Short on time, 20 seconds.
So simple. The moment you have censorship, you will have judgmentalism, you will have non-objective views, and people will ask, who are you to tell me what I need to do? It's as simple. So you are walking into a trap. Either way, it reminds me of Ajit the villain. It's liquid oxygen. Liquid आपको जीने नहीं देगा, oxygen आपको मरने नहीं देगा. You choose.
Absolutely, well said, Suhail said. And who wants, a police inspector to decide what's vulgar in what you say? The question really here is, have we, thanks to Samay Raina and Ranveer Allahbadia, walked into a trap? Is this monster of censorship looming large, or is self-regulation the way forward, and can content creators look the other way from self-censorship anymore? More serious questions that are coming up. Wake-up call for content creators. What happens further? Well, we'll keep a track. Thank you very much to all my panelists for joining me on the debate tonight. Good night. Be safe.